Hey everybody, I hope you're all doing good today. I'm having a pretty good day so far. Nice and sunny today, but with a slight breeze, so it's not too hot. Yeah, my morning cardio felt really nice. But let's go ahead and get back to Tactical Lizard Tamer. Oop, that's the wrong thing. So yeah, we're working on trying to get the terrain to look good. And my main idea is to try and use a tile map to texture the terrain instead of just having one texture that just uniformly tiles across it. I think this will look way better. But obviously we're gonna have to do a lot more work to get the UVs all set up. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm trying to add in the texture entries for each block. Okay, so yeah, I did the UVs and now I just need to set the type. And this is if it's a hexagon face or some kind of margin. So if the mod claim type, oh yeah, I need to check if this is null or empty first. Yeah, with null type. Okay, otherwise we'll do a switch statement into upper invariant again so it doesn't, so it's case insensitive. Okay, and so I'll just have hexagon. Rect margin, and I can add more keywords here if I want, but and then triangle margin. Okay, and then if it's anything else, we should also throw an error because that means it's an unrecognized type. This texture claim with unrecognized type. Okay, now we don't have to throw, I mean, we don't have to break after a throw statement. So I think that is it. There's still some errors I saw in the game logic. Just because, or in the asset organizer, because I need to pass some more things through. So yeah, first we'll do the terrain texture organizer. Oh, I spelled that wrong, of course. Okay, and then after that's done, we can pass through its name map, which I don't actually... I need to expose this. Okay, so there's a couple more things down here. Oh right, because we took these things out of the mod. There's no more texture stretch values, so I'll just go ahead and comment that out. Okay, so the only other problem is down here, and that's just because the texture index is different now. So I think, yeah, I'll comment these functions out. We might not even use them, actually. I'm not sure. Well, we probably will, because we'll have to get the texture index. Oh yeah, but we have to like search through the claim that we want to use and things like that, so. Probably how I'll do it is in the section data itself, we'll just already have the vector 3 for this texture, which will have the UVs and then the texture index part of it. So it's still compiling. All right, so it's this flow manager. Okay. I think I'll just get rid of these so that I won't have to worry about it. I think that must have been left over from when I redid some code for the save files. Okay, so now I'm gonna play, and I think everything's gonna look the same, but we might get some errors about typos or whatever in the mods, which is fine. Oh, a lot. Check consistency. Game object does not reference component mesh filter. Okay, is the asset bundle messed up again? Okay, yeah, Unity has been having some issues with asset bundles, it seems like. I don't know, let's rebuild it because, I don't know, I think this asset bundle that I'm using now is kind of corrupted somehow. Because I think we had a crash yesterday too. Gonna take it a little bit of time. And I won't try to do anything fancy in case, I don't know. Oh, that was actually pretty quick. Yeah, the asset bundle is just a bundle of of assets, I guess. You can think of it kind of like a zip file that Unity builds so that it can load the assets at some other time. And we're going to use that for mods so that mod authors can supply assets to the game. An asset being a model or sound or whatever. The cool thing about that is that it does keep shaders and everything in. Okay, so something else is wrong then. Not activated exception, okay. Assertion failed. Unable to load asset. Oh, okay. Yeah, I need to have that new white texture, but it doesn't seem like... Cannot open file archive. Okay, I'm not really sure what's going on here. Canceling display dialog because it was run from a thread that's not the main thread. Opening file failed opening. Okay, I don't know what is going on there. But yeah, like I've said, the loading in general, I need to go back and update because it's a bit messy. So prefab has multiple transform components. Okay, that's weird. Well, let's just make that white texture. And to do that, I'll just open up... Well, Inkscape's already here, so... I'll just make a white rectangle. Just Doesn't really matter where it is, just the width and the height. I'll set them both to 32. And then set it to pure white and export. Okay, I'll cut that white. Oh, that was wrong. And then export. Oh, it's in textures, not terrain. That's fine, I guess. Okay, so one thing I need to do... Oh, it doesn't matter, actually. I was gonna say I need to set the format, but I don't actually because... it's not loaded into a texture array, so it doesn't have to match anything. Okay, so hopefully there's not some bug with building asset bundles. Although I guess if there was, that'd be high on their priority to fix. Okay, there's nothing in here. Oh my gosh, another bug. I'm not running on a beta version of Unity or anything. Okay, well hopefully this doesn't keep happening. If it does, we might have to go work on something else until I'm able to debug this. I don't understand, because I'm not really doing anything different. Terrain texture map. Okay, so for some reason problems happen. Okay, so I think the issue here is it failed to close this. But I'm not even opening it asynchronously, so I don't... Okay, so I guess whenever that happens, I just need to reload Unity. Okay. Yeah, it won't even close. Okay, I'm getting too many here to keep open. I'll just move them over and I'll fill out those things later. Okay, so anyway, it should be terrain texture map and I need to specify something for that. Okay, so let's just go ahead. Well, it doesn't actually matter because the terrain doesn't actually read from it, so I'm just going to... In fact, maybe I'll just duplicate this white texture and that will be the terrain texture map. Oh no, because it needs to match whatever the height is here in the framework mod, which, okay, well it's 32, actually. Obviously we'll need to increase that later, but for now it's not an issue. Oh yeah, I need to reopen Unity. Okay, so I'll just Duplicate this white texture, move it here, and this will just be test terrain tiles. Although here, okay, it has to have the same name, so this is terrain texture map. So yeah, I guess I'll just do that. Oh yeah, Unity is not where I usually have it. Okay, it's already in the asset bundle, so we're good there. Okay, so I'll build it again. I mean, and nothing, there's no code for the asset bundles that I made myself, so I know that I didn't introduce a bug to building the asset bundle. Unless some object that I'm trying to build into it is corrupted somehow. But I don't know. Hopefully now everything will be fine. Okay, so yeah, we loaded everything correctly. Object reference not set to an instance. This meta, did I not? How could it be null? Oh, entries is null. Okay, so yeah, I always do this. I just need to create a constructor that will set up that list. I'm too used to Unity creating those lists for you in mono behaviors, I think, because I always forget to do it myself. Okay, block prototype dirt. Read, write, disable texture. Oh, okay, so I'm gonna need to build the asset bundles again. Hopefully this won't cause an issue. Yeah, I need to set that as read, write enabled. Because for some reason, in order to just read the pixels, it has to be write enabled. Probably all that checkmark does is it just means that Unity keeps a copy of that texture around in RAM memory instead of just offloading it to the GPU. Because most textures don't need to be known by the CPU, only the GPU. So I bet that's all that does. Okay. I was gonna say, where's the terrain? Okay. Oh, I see. So it is actually using that white texture. Because that's the only texture in the texture array, I think. But if we look in debug, we should be able to get a little information about the tiles. Should be in data. Okay, well that's wrong because all the textures are set to 0 or have nothing inside them. The terrain textures. Okay, well, I was hoping that it would at least tell me how many textures are in here, the size. Oh, here it does. The depth is 1. I guess everything is working according to plan so far. I think I might change this color though, because it's really hard to read it when it's just white like that. Let me open up a sprite because it'll be easier just to flood fill than trying to do that in Inkscape. Oh, no terrain, and there. Okay, so I can just change the color of this white. Let's go to... I don't know, let's do green. Oh, okay, it's not actually set to indexed. Okay, so there we go. Of course, in order for the green to be updated, I'll need to build the asset bundles again, but it's so fast now, it's not an issue. Not an issue. Alright, so for some reason, seems that maybe I forgot to add this claim to the list, which is probably, oh no, it's right here. Then I guess this texture claims is null. I guess that could be if I named this wrong. So texture claims. No, that's right. Okay, so somehow this is being set to 0, so I guess this has to be it. Let me just debug it, our debug log, to make sure. Because I could have, I don't know, overwritten or cleared the list by accident. Claims, links. Oh, hi, I'm Caro. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good is my C++? I actually haven't worked in C++ in about 8 years or so. But that being said, I think I could work in it, so I don't know, I'd say maybe a 6 or something, because I do understand how it works, but I don't have much experience, recent experience anyway. Why are you asking? Just curious. Okay, so now it's all green. I'm trying to figure out why there's this little bump right there. Maybe that's the distortion map? I don't know. Okay, so there's actually an error. Now, this looks flat, so I don't know why. Okay, no, it's not perfectly flat. That's interesting. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. So error in the shader. Duplicated input semantics can't change type size or layout. So something's wrong with text chord 2. Used more than once. Okay, I guess that's the issue. Oh, looking for some kind of tutor. Sorry, I can't really. I wouldn't feel comfortable helping you with C++. Okay, so yeah, I need to go fix that in the shader. I guess I put some... Got the indexes wrong, I guess. And terrain, material, lighting, CG include on line 23. Oh, there's no lines here, but... So text chord... Oh yeah, text chord 2 is used twice here because the shadow uses it. Every form of tutorial drowns you in theory but struggles to help you put it into practice. Oh. Yeah, I know what you mean. Unfortunately, I can't really suggest any, but I would guess it might be a good idea to try to find some games or other programs written in C++ and look at how they did that. Look at how they did whatever. That always helps me anyway. I'm sure there are some streamers that stream C++, but like I said, I don't know for any for sure. Surprised that I didn't have that error happen when I tested it before, but I guess it's not that big of a deal. Actually, now that I switched these text chords, I need to... Oh no, okay, this doesn't matter. I was gonna say I need to update the mesh generator because since I changed these indexes, I have to change it there as well, but that's not true because the indexes in the train generator are referring to this, which is passed into the vertex, and the issue was here, which was passed into the fragment, so I think I'm good, and that error went away, so. Alright, so I guess, oh, I didn't even check the debug. Okay, so yeah, it's still 0. Let's scroll up and see if I can find the debug logs. Okay, what is this? Okay, something left over from the save file. I'll just get rid of that. No problem, Ankara. Sorry I couldn't be more help. Okay, so this is loading, so the debug log must be farther down. I don't even see it. So creating a new block prototype. Why do I even have this? Okay, this is like the Lua interface. Oh yeah, because the map generation function is... Oh gosh, I spelled that wrong. Map generation. Yeah, but I don't even see... it should be somewhere around here. Excuse me, here. Actually, it should be like back here. But... thanks for following. I'm Caro. I do appreciate it. Yeah, so it doesn't even show up here, so I guess that means that this code is not even ran. Which would make sense because I don't see how the arrays could be 0. Yeah, so setup texture map UVs is never called. Oh, I see. I just created another function for this because it's kind of big. I guess I should just call it right here. Okay, so we got an error now. Yeah, because now it's actually going to try to load everything. The block prototype dirt has no hex face texture claim. Probably because... Oh, I know exactly why. Because I forgot to set these to true. And it's important that it has at least one of each so that the train generator knows how to texture each type of train section. Okay, so now I at least got through, but oh no, we do have values now. The texture index 0 and we have UVs. Although this can't possibly be right because they're all the same. Okay, so yeah, this is just saying that this texture is a point. And yeah, the X's and Y's are always equal. It should be more like, well, I mean, they're supposed to have like a square. So I did something wrong with that code. That's in here somewhere, the terrain texture. Yeah, this one. So we have the start and then the start and okay, so I guess how could this happen? So in order for us to for the X values to always be the same, that means that the start X has to equal end X, and that means that size must be 0, but in order for that to happen, margin must exactly equal the increment. Which actually might be the case because I have such a small atlas. Okay, so let's set the margin to 0 for now. Which is fine because I don't actually have any textures in there. Where is that? Yeah, block prototypes. Okay, so that's funny. I guess the margin exactly equaled the size of one tile. Or margin times 2. Yeah, because 32 divided by 4 is 8. Yeah, so that is what happened. Okay. Oh yeah, so this is more what I was expecting. So we start at 0, 0, and then it goes up a quarter. And then it goes right a quarter. So yeah, it makes a square. And then the next one starts a quarter to the right. Yes. And then these are supposed to be on the next row, so yeah, the Y should start at a quarter and then go to a half. Okay, so we're all good, I think. Let me make sure. Let's check this one. Yeah, it's looking good. But of course everything is still green. One, because the terrain doesn't actually use the UVs yet. And texture is only green anyway, so. Alright. I guess to test it out, we might as well have something in here. Okay, so the hex, I guess I'll just go by color of the rainbow. Okay, this will just be a default, I guess. Okay, so each tile is 8 by 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess I could have just used the square tool. Or even easier, I could set the grid to have 8 by 8 pieces. Okay, and so this is the dirt. Okay, maybe I should make it more dirt-like. The dirt hexagon will be orange, and then the dirt margin. Let's do slightly darker, and then the triangle margin. I don't know, yellow. It doesn't really matter. Next is stone, so I'll make it blue. Oops. Okay, I don't know why I didn't set that correctly. So really I just need to have different colors here so I can tell them apart. It doesn't actually matter what they are. And then grass. What I wanted to do. Okay, well shouldn't go too turquoise because that's the color of the stone. Okay, I'm gonna make this dark because all the triangles are dark and faded. To kind of keep things consistent. Okay, yeah, I know these colors are pretty ugly, but that's fine. And then so if we ever get something outside of the set tiles, it'll be this bright magenta color, so it'll be really easy to see. Okay, so if I rebuild the asset bundles once again, when I now when I load the texture, it should all be orange because all the UVs are set to 0, 0, which is the bottom left corner. But might as well test that. Oh, interesting. So okay. Oh, it's because of our yeah, I forgot our little hacky thing set green or set grass to be at 1, 1, so it's up at this corner. We can see that. Go back to the terrain generator. If it's called grass, we set the UV to 1, 1. Okay, and I'm actually, well, I guess it doesn't actually throw an error because the game doesn't care, but we only have one texture now. And so this is still reading from the same texture. We can know for sure because the stone tiles, which should be over here, are still orange. Okay, also, is it doing ambient lighting? Oh no, it looks oranger than normal, so I wasn't sure if maybe some ambient lighting was reflecting off of the orange. And I was thinking that that shouldn't happen because my toon shader doesn't have ambient lighting and I have it turned off, so I guess it was just a illusion. Okay, so now I need to figure out how I'll make the textures or the tiles actually use their correct UVs. And this is it's actually pretty complicated because for a hexagon, in order to actually have something look good, we can't just like map each corner to be one corner on this square, because then it would be stretched near the edges. It actually needs to be something like this, but it's going to be hard to do in pixel art, but you can imagine something like that. Oops. So we've got to do some math to figure out the exact proportions. Maybe it's time. Yeah, we can't really test that out unless I have a bigger texture. Okay, so maybe it's time to actually do something here in Inkscape. Okay, so document properties. Let's make this 256 by 256. Or no, let's do 512. It's still pretty small, but I think it'll be fine. So I need to, let me think. I don't know if there's a way I can render a grid. Yeah, trying to see the render. Okay, no, I don't see one. It's kind of important that I get it exact. There's no grid. Oh, there is a page grid. So how, oh. We also just use the guide mode as well, but is there a way to adjust? I haven't actually ever used a grid in Inkscape. Okay, so origin 0, spacing. That's not correct. It says, oh, okay, so it's every 5 pixels. So what I want to do is have a line every, what is it? 512 divided by 4 is 128. Okay, it's not doing anything. Hmm. Maybe I need to turn it on and off. No. Okay, well, I don't want to spend all day messing around with this. Okay, so I guess plan B, I'll just make a hexagon. I'll just make my own grid. So 128 by 128. Oh, it's in millimeters. I wish it would remember my unit. Okay, and so I want to set this to 0 and 0. Alright, and let's put this on a separate layer. Okay, well, I guess I can just rename this to grid. And I don't know, gray. Wait, is this? Okay, yeah, that's right. It just didn't look like a fourth. Something like that. But then I also need to worry about the margin. So if we have a 4 pixel margin, then the width would be 120 by 120. Oh, okay, so positive. I just want to select the negative sign. There we go. And let's change that. Okay, so our hexagon needs to be inside this square. And then anything that touches the sides should actually be... okay, well actually... yeah, the way margin works, you actually want to bleed out a little bit. I'm trying to decide how would be the best way to test that I have the shape right. Because like in real, if you were doing this for real, you'd want to make sure that you have like a couple pixels around the edge of the hexagon. I guess I could just use a stroke for that. Okay, so we want to have that. Let's just make it red so I can see. Is this the right? Yeah, because east and west is flat in our game. But so we actually want the height to be the size of the margin. So what was it? 120? Or the size of the block. Okay, so let's arrange this so it's in the middle of the... Okay, I think I did that backwards. There we go. Okay, and I can add a bleed radius on it by adding a stroke. What color? I guess let's make it different so I can tell if I'm on the edge or not. Okay, and then in pixels, let's just have it... Well, I guess it can be 4 pixels. Oh, although it goes both ways, so I need to make it 8. If I want it to just be on the outside. Or if I want it to be 4 on the outside of the hexagon. Well, it's not exact. Well, it's probably just because it pokes a little outside. That's really not that big of a deal. Because, like, yeah, this is mostly just to make sure that if there's rounding errors, it still gets the right pixel here. Okay, so now I want to make this color something really obvious so I know if I go out of bounds. Okay, and that can stay gray. Although I think I'll just make it a darker purple. Okay, so yeah, we'll just worry about this hexagon for now. Everything else can stay white. Maybe I should make it all purple, I don't know. Okay, so I'll make this the terrain. Oh, okay, so I have a texture map. So this will just be the terrain texture map. And then SVG because it's a scalable vector graphic. Right, and then for this background, I'll make it a brighter purple. Okay, and now I should export it. I wish I would remember my previous spot. So we'll just erase over this pixel art one. It's not really that useful. Okay, so now I need to set the mod to have 512 by 512 texture tile size. And I can have, or set the margin to be 4 again. Okay. Once it's done compiling. Oh no, it is done compiling. I just have lighting selected there. Do I want bitmaps? I guess so. Okay, so it is a color texture. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I need to change. Lamp. Probably I should set this to bilinear now. Okay, that's already the right format. But I guess I'll just override to make sure it stays that way. I just gotta rebuild the asset bundles. Okay, it's still working. Okay, so now when I reload, okay, everything should be that dark purple except the grass, which will be light purple. Yeah. Okay, so that's exactly what happened. Alright, so now we're going to dive back into texturing. I guess I'll leave this here for now, but it's not going to be long for this world. Okay, so what I need to do here, this is the triangles, or the colliders. I guess I need to have other arrays here for the 3 sets of UVs. Should I just make it a 2D array? There's always going to be 3 sets, so I think that's fine. Okay. Now the question is, what generates them? I guess the easiest way would be to just add that to the positions, but the position generator system is already one of the bigger ones. But I can't really think of another way to do it because the UVs kind of depend on the information given by the positions. Maybe I can generate the UVs from the positions. Let's see. I don't know if that'd be easy to do or not. I guess what we could do, we would have, but they'd be this, the positions would be distorted and everything. Okay, I'm trying to think. I really don't want to add like calculating the UVs here because it gets away from like the whole point of having like a entity component system, because this one system is doing too much work and that makes it harder to debug. Oh, and this occlusion I don't use anymore, so I can get rid of it. Same with that, actually. This never looked that good. Thankfully I didn't spend too long on it, but... Okay, so let me see here. If... I'll just look here again. Or maybe I'll open up the hex diagram. So we have a hexagon here, and well, I guess these would be the points on it. And so we know the position of the center really easily. And I guess I could assume that the hexagon height is the dimensions of a square. And so then, given these points, I could figure out the UVs by kind of like doing an inverse lerp on these UVs and the dimensions of the square, because we know the hexagon face tile is a perfect square that contains this hexagon. The only issue is that these positions are perturbed by our noise texture, and I don't want the UVs to be affected by that. So I guess what I need to do is perturb the positions after the UVs are calculated. which is not a big deal because let me see, the distortion amount only depends on its flat position. So I think that's what I'll need to do. Could I do the same thing with the blends? Well, if our hexagon blend is always the same. Let me look. Wait. Okay, so thing about the margin is we know these two lines, and I guess if we know them, we can kind of lerp between those two lines to know the distances. Yeah, so that would work, but am I duplicating a lot of code? What I'd have to do is I'd have to basically do this code again. So maybe what I should actually do is have a system that calculates like the bounding box of a section. And then it would calculate like the lerp coordinates for every point. And then every system would easily be able to generate the position, the UVs, and blend from that. We could do that. Let me think. The only issue is I think I need to have like another vector 3, or just be a vector 2. I'm starting to okay, I keep on thinking that maybe I'm trying to store too much information, but if I think about it, so right now we have a map that's 8 by 8. So yeah, that's only 64, and I don't know how much bigger maps will actually get. Although we have a lot more than 64 sections because there's one margin for each, so I don't know if we do. So there's 64 hexagons and then something like 64 triangle margins, and then 64 times 3 rectangle margins, so that's like 64 times 5. What do you think? 32 or 320. That's still not a whole lot. But yeah, I'm starting to worry about how much memory my game is going to gobble up. Maybe it's silly to worry about that. Okay, so I already had this layout generation system, and I mean, it's kind of useful, but I always thought it was maybe a little useless because it doesn't actually give you that much useful information. It just calculates like the number of points. So maybe I could take this system and instead generate, like I said, the bounding box for a section, and then also the like interpolation data for every point. Okay, I think that's the way to go. And I guess, let me think, if I see that I am taking up too much memory, which is probably silly of me to worry about at this point with how much RAM computers have these days. I could combine some of these systems probably easier than it would be to try to separate them. So I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. Okay, so I think we will do this. We'll need, I guess, a rect for the bounding box. And then this is like the point lerp data. Now, what if the like hexagons are actually, or margins can be 3D because they can slope. So I guess I need like a 3D rect. I don't even know if Unity has that. I think I'll just do vector 3 corners. Oh, I don't know, bound. Yeah, because we'll have to do each point on the cube, which is 8. Or we can actually figure that out. But maybe a better way to do this is vector 3 bound start and then the dimensions. Although that won't work because margins, the bounding box, is not axis aligned. Okay, so we'll need right, forward, and up vectors. I guess they can also have the length encoded. So this will be bound axes. How do you spell that? Is that correct? Okay, so if I have this, do I really need... I guess I still kind of need the number of points, but this arranged data was only useful because the positions and everything had to calculate the number of points using it. But if I'm going to have the layout generation system calculate that point lerp data, then it's not as big of an issue. Okay, let's see here. I guess I could have another class that does this. Finds the board indexes. Okay, so I kind of like I don't really want to make everything, well, it's already not compilable, but I like to be able to test it without having to completely go through the code, so I'm trying to figure out the best way to do that. I guess again, won't support margins. So let's okay, I think I can leave this here, but I'll just comment this out so it won't even... No. What I need to do is in the section generation, have it not even generate sections for the margins for now. Okay, so I can just comment these out. Okay, so the surface block, I still need that. Actually, well, since this is gonna find the bounding area, then I will need that. Let me see. We'll leave that there. Okay, so I think this point arranged data, like I said, I don't really want to delete it because then I'd have to re-code a bunch of stuff in order to test it again. So I think I'll just mark it as obsolete. And when that happens, things will still compile, but yeah, they'll let you know you shouldn't use that data, which is true. Okay, so what I actually need to do is kind of grab some information or grab some code from the position generation system. Instead of finding like the actual positions, we would just find the lerp amount. Although really, the layout generation system could just find the actual positions, but okay, so let me think. Would it be better maybe to have just this layout, it finds the bounds and then some other class finds the lerping or interpolation values? Maybe I'll do that. Okay. So the layout generation, what do I want to call those two systems? I kind of feel like the layout is what should create the interpolation data for every point, and then so I should have something else that just finds the bounding cube for each section. And they can actually run in parallel because the bounds generation doesn't care about the actual interpolation values. That's kind of nice. Although right now we don't actually do anything in parallel because at the moment multi-threading does not work very well in Unity, but soon it will. Okay, so I guess I need to, yeah, this is another thing that's kind of hacky. I have to keep track of which systems, like the system states. Okay, so I don't want the specular anymore, so I'll just get rid of that. I can just delete that class. Okay, I guess I'll just have state bounds. I think I might make another class that finds like these board indexes. I guess I'll go ahead and create that. Because it doesn't really need to be... well, it needs to know the surface. Oh, that's fine. I really want to... Okay, maybe the bounds should just do that. Because, yeah, so the layout generation system now doesn't care about the surface because it just from the type of section it is, it can find out the interpolation positions for every point. But the bounds will need to know the surface, so it can also find these board indexes at the same time. Yeah, so that's okay. I could also just have the board index run first, because we can figure out the altitude of a board index. Yeah, I guess that's the way to go. Okay, where was I? Okay, so I guess maybe that should run first, just to kind of go in order. Or maybe I should create that first, is what I mean to say. I'm gonna be so glad when I get finished with all this terrain coding, but it's just, I knew that this was gonna be a big project because it's hard to get procedurally generated meshes to look good. So I hope everybody's not sick and tired of it, but okay, so this can actually run right away. It doesn't have anything that needs to go before it. So basically if the board index is waiting, then we'll run. Oops, I didn't mean to duplicate that. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll need to copy all this code from the layout system. I guess I'll just copy all this and then just delete the code that's not needed. Because really it's gonna work just the same. I don't need that, and then I don't need any of this. Any of that. Okay, I did need that stuff. Okay, there we go. So this is already finished. But yeah, this layout gen system I'm going to need to rewrite completely because basically all its old code is not going to be running anymore. Or it's been being taken over by other classes. Okay, so this just needs to figure out the bounding cube for each section. Type. And I'll just support hex faces for now. Okay, and it's pretty easy. It's like I said, they're always axis aligned, which means they're always just on the X and Z axis. And okay, I guess the bottom left should be like the bottom of actually. Okay, no, for a hex face, it doesn't have any dimension in its height. It's only on the XZ plane. So yeah, the Y dimension will just be 0, 0. But anyway, so I can get the center. Vector 3, center. I guess, look here. Oh, don't use Unity engine, I guess. Okay, so I can just call this center because, yeah. What is it? Yeah, it uses the altitude, so... Okay, so we know the center, and that's essentially at 1/2 for the UV. So we need over here is just okay, so then the Z axis, it's just the radius of the hexagon. And I guess it's the same in the X axis, but obviously it goes a little outside the hexagon, but that's just how it is. Okay, yeah, so for hex faces it's pretty simple actually. So what is it? Bounds. Okay, so the bounds start is center position minus new vector 3 metrics, hex radius. Oh, I need to also include the... Oh no, I don't include the margin in this. And then yeah, nothing in the Y, and then same thing. I'm going to be using that a lot, so let's actually create a variable for that. And section axes is a new vector or a new array of vector 3s. So yeah, a matrix basically. And so I guess we'll do the axis. I'll do right, up, and forward in that order, just like X, Y, Z. So right is just this would be radius.x times 2, and then 0, 0. And then height is just 0, 0, 0 because it has no height. And forward is the same as right, except use radius.z times 2. Okay, so I think that's all I have to do for that. Okay, so now here, okay, I do need to copy most of this code. And I can get rid of most of this except for the number of points. Okay, and do I need... I don't think I need that because, yeah, this thing doesn't care about... Yeah, the surface prototype was only for, like, distortion. And then it doesn't actually need the center. So I guess I'll have a new set point function. I don't really know how much it's needed. Because let's see. All I really have to do is just set the vector 2 into here, so okay, maybe it's not needed. Oh, but now I know the number of points I need to create that array. So what was it? Oh, it should be a vector 3. Do I want to rename this to something better? Let's well, I guess LERP is fine. That just stands for linear interpolation, which is just a percentage between 2 points. So since we know the bounding cube, we can find any point within that bounding cube using this percentage data. That's basically what interpolation is. Okay, that's not needed anymore. Okay, and so for the center, it's really easy. It's just in the actual center of the cube, so... Except, of course, y doesn't matter for x faces, so we'll just always set y to 0. Oh yeah. Okay, so flat center, we don't have to pass either of those. Yeah, we don't have to do these corners because... well, maybe we could. It might be easier like that. Okay. So what this is doing... trying to see. Okay, so I think what's happening is it's calculating these 2 points. I don't know why I called them near corners. Because there's no far corner, but yeah, it's just these two. And then it would just generate points in between them as needed. Center poise. Okay, so calculate corner position. Really, I could just pass in the corner, and all I would do is I just get this corner direction, because it, yeah, just does something between 0 and 1. So I can already use that as the lerp value. And then the radial lerp value is, yeah, the lerp between the center point and the radius of the hexagon. So all I have to do is lerp between vector the center position, which is 0.5. Maybe I'll create that here. And I don't have to... Do I need to add it to 0.5? No, because it gives the value on a unit circle. Yeah, I definitely don't multiply by the database, by the radius, because this is all in a space from 0 to 1. Okay, so that is fine. And then, yeah, this is fine. So really all I have to do to adapt this data, or adapt this code to the new lerp value, is just kind of delete any references to actual units. Okay, so section, okay, that's the index. So to adjust this, I just do section dot lerp data equals position lerp, and don't need any of that. Okay, so really it won't be that hard to support the other section types, but I just won't for now. Yeah, I'll just comment this out so that in case I need it. I think I already grabbed everything that I'll need, but just in case. Okay, do I use this? I do. But I use the point arrange data, which... Okay, did I accidentally... I deleted how I generated that. Okay, so let's I think I'll look back through the log, because I had this code working, so I don't really want to have to try to figure it out myself again. View history. Okay, so it says 1 for the first, and then every time... Okay, so it's 6 times I, and then you just add it up. Okay, so I'll leave this just to keep me up to date. So, I mean, I could just pass, like, the start index in here. Is that right? I'm confused. Okay, so what is that? Okay, I did write it down. This is kind of out of date now, but it's a number of even point rows. What? Okay, this is... Okay, I must have messed up there. The number of point rings, okay. And then points on row 1, and then points on row n. So... So it's really just 6 times I? Oh yeah, I think I remember my reasoning for that. It's because every row adds 1 point from the previous. And so that since there's 6 wedges, it just adds 6 every row. So really, the number of points in a row is just the row times 6. Yes, this is row, except for the first one. So on row 0, it's 1, and then row 1, it's 6, and then 12. Okay, so that's not too bad. I don't have to like add up. Although I do need to... It has to keep track of what index to start on. That's not what I wanted here. Yeah, so that's what this is doing. It's looping through every row before it. So really all I need to do here is say the total equals 1, and then okay, and then for I equals 1, and then I less than point ring, we would just add 6 times I. And there's probably a better, or what they call a closed expression for this, where I don't have to do this loop. But it's not really that big of a deal. Okay. So that should work now. I don't think I can... I kind of like to run the game and so I can inspect that LERP data. Okay, yeah, this specular system I'm just going to delete because we are not supporting that right now. Okay, so is there anything else? Okay, no more errors. So I could play, but I think nothing will actually run. I need to go back to the section generation system, and here I need to set s dot forward index to waiting and s. Okay, so the layout's already there. What else was it? Bounds. Then I need to have the layout needs to wait on the bounds. Oh no, it doesn't. It can run right away. So the position needs the layout and the bounds and the indexes. Okay, let's put its own state first. Oh. And the bounds. It needs all this stuff. I don't actually want it to run because it's not going to work right now, so I'll comment this out so it'll stay idle. Triangles, and the normals. The collider triangles should work, but in case. Okay, so I won't worry about updating anything else right now. I'll go through one by one. So the game won't actually ever load because it'll never create the terrain mesh. But I hope that this debug will still show like the current state of the terrain mesh. Okay, so it's just telling me it's obsolete, which I know. Or obsolete. Okay, so yeah, it does... Oh, what's the data? I want... Okay, thankfully I can see. Point arrange data is at 0, so that's not right. Oh, yeah, that is. That's the obsolete thing. So it starts at 0, 0, 0, which... Okay, it has no bound accesses, but the lerp data... Okay, it's kind of hard to tell, but if it's actually working. But I mean, it doesn't look bad. So do I have... I guess I should turn off subdivisions, because that would make it easier to debug for now. So I'll just set this to 0, and we'll run it again. So there should only be 7 points. The center, and then 1 for each of the corners. Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, that's the center. Okay, so the first corner is straight up, and this is basically 0. It just has a rounding error. So 0 and 1. And then it kind of... Okay, so this one, Z is 1/2. Is that right? Yeah, it's like down here. Wait, I'm confused. Okay, so this is supposed to be northwest. Or, yeah, northeast, sorry. Oh, it's going between... Oh, yeah, so this should be between 0 and 1, not -1 and 1. Okay, so I need to adjust that. So I just need to add 1 to this and divide it by 2. Or divide it by 2 and then add 1/2. Okay, so let's try that again. Oh, yeah, this is better. Also, another thing I just noticed is that every, like, bound, well, the axes will be different, which, yeah, that's a bug, so for some reason that didn't run, but this interpolation data is actually the same for every hexagon. So I think, yeah, it will be the same for every section of the same type, kind of like the triangles are. So we could generate this once and then reuse it. But I think I'll... Okay, that's actually cool because that's barely any memory, so that takes care of that issue, but I'll just wait to do that. Let me write a note. Do I have it here? Okay, so I guess point lerp data and triangles are the same for every section with the same type. Change to share data between sections. So basically we just have one. We would just generate this like once during loading, or even put it in a file. And then everything that needed it would just look it up based on the type. Yeah, so that'd be really nice. That speed up both the generation and make it use less memory. So yeah, we might not even need this class, but I'll worry about that later in case something changes. I don't think it will, but because I could just have it that if either of those are different for any reason, then I could just separate those two sections out into different types, which would be the same thing as having everything have the same array, but anyway, let me see. So how come the bounds didn't run? Oh, because the terrain generation doesn't create that yet. And then systems, I also need to add the board index. Oops. Okay, so let's see if they get generated correctly. Okay, so yeah, this is good. And okay, so I don't want that. Okay, so the bounds are still not being created. Maybe, oh, it's set on the layout. Okay, I forgot to change this variable. That's why I can't wait for the new Unity job system, so it can, because it takes care of dependencies automatically. So you can set it so that a certain job will only run when a previous one is finished. Okay, there we go. Is that correct though? Okay, well yeah, because the center is at 0, 0, so we divide by half the radius. Is the radius really that big? Oh, it is 1.5. Okay. Okay, so now let's got that all working. Update the position generation. Okay, and really all I have to do for here is just figure out, well, this is actually really simple. I don't think I have to do something different for every type either. Just using the bounding cube and then the interpolation data, I can find out the position, and then from there all I have to do is perturb it. Okay, and I can have another class that takes care of these blends now. Okay, so this is actually going to be super easy. Get rid of that. And this won't do the blends. Okay, I don't really need to have a separate number of points variable. Do I ever set it though? No, because I can just use the length of the LERP data for that. Okay, so I'll set this as obsolete as well. Okay, so let me see. So everything is basically just interpolation between the 2 points, or yeah, the 2 points as defined by the bounds. Is it really as easy as just making like a point A and a point B and then interpolating between them? No, I think I need to interpolate between each component separately. Yeah, because yeah, the interpolation takes a float, not a vector 3, so that makes sense. Vector 3 point A is just section dot start, and then vector 3 point B is section dot start plus. Does this, now that I think about it, this axes? Oh well, no, it does need to be like this because the like I said, it might not be axis aligned, so every axis could be like diagonal. Okay, so this should just be the 0 point, I'll name that. And then right is 0 point about axis 0, and then up. Well, I don't know if axis is the right term for this because it's not, well, it's the axis but also has the length, so. Okay, and then the positions, oh yeah, I need to loop through for I equals 0, I less than section positions, length, section positions I equals vector 3. Okay, no, what I need to do is do 3 vector interpolations like this. So vector 3 lerp right, and then let's do this. Oh, I need to put that in the for loop, of course. Okay, so lerp x. Oh, and then I need to add up, and this is lerp y. I could type. All right. Now I definitely will comment this out because I'm going to be using this code. Oh, well, I do need to figure out distortion. Okay. So yeah, then I need to just add this distort amount. Yeah. So I won't set this just yet. Okay, I need to know the prototype. Okay, so I have to... This is different depending on... Okay, so I might need to do something a little different depending on what type. of section this is because for the margins we have to blend between two different types of, well, the distort amount for two different types of terrain. But I can still do this right here, so I'll just go ahead and store that in the array. And then we'll do something like this. Switch section dot type. Okay, and then this would just be section positions. Oh, I need to do a for loop. Okay, so first we distort it. This is gonna be kind of messy. Okay, let's pull this out to a different function. Alright, so now I need the block prototype, which I can just get from the database. Why is it not like that? Oh. Also, yeah, this isn't quite correct. The board index gives me the index on the map for the specific block, and then so I need to index the map array to get the actual prototype. And then there's also the distortion changes the position based on the XZ plane. But then there's also the height map, which distorts on the Y plane, which I'm not actually using, but... Okay, let's rename this flat. Okay, I don't know why that took so long. And then get... Oh. I did that wrong. And then I think I have a get height or get bump. Okay, so it only returns a float because I used to use the bump value for other things. Do I want to just return a vector 3 now? That doesn't really matter that much. Oh, vector 3 dot up. Okay, and then again I won't worry about any of this stuff until we need it. We'll need some of the things like that triangle average. Oh, I just deleted the distort amount. Oh, well, really, there's not going to be any bugs here, so I can leave it. Oops, I pressed the wrong key. Maybe I should still use these functions, actually. Because especially here, it has to, like, devolve back if the prototype is null. Okay, so really what I just need to comment these two functions out. Oh, and these. Okay. Hi, Vein Brain. Thanks for stopping by. Ahoy. Let me rename this to distort. That's confusing with this though. I guess distort and bump. And we'll just return a vector 3 instead of setting it. Because it doesn't actually need that. Okay, I used to do the blending. But yeah, so I guess I'll leave that in there for now because I think I'll probably reuse it, but some other code will take care of that. Well, before I delete this, let's copy this code into like a blend class. What am I doing? I'm updating my terrain generator to basically let me have more control over where the textures show up on the terrain. Because the way I had it now, you could really just have one texture that would just tile over the entire terrain, and it was just looking too flat. So I want to be able to set a texture to display like on the top of a hexagon or the sides or just wherever. Okay, so yeah, I want to preserve this version of the function because I'll probably reuse some of the logic when I make the blend values, but that way I don't have to worry about deleting this stuff. Okay, so yeah, no blending. Did I? Oh, okay. I was gonna say, did I add the distortion twice? No, I have to do it like that because I take this distorted center and feed that into the bump value. Okay, why did I not put an else here? I guess it doesn't really matter, but it's slightly clearer. Alright, and so I don't need to reach, or I just need to give it the prototypes and the flat position, really. Well no, it doesn't need the lerp value because it needs to interpolate between the two prototypes. But yeah, that's not that difficult because it really just depends. Over the triangle, it might be a little hard. Oh, I'll figure it out. Okay, there we go. Not that hard to update. Oh, and I have this still set to return a void. I'm just gonna go ahead and update these functions, even though obviously I don't use them yet, but at least they'll be ready. Oh, no, this is... Why did I set it? What is going on here? I set the positions, the center, and then bump value, and then I do it again. I guess I just left this in by accident. Yeah, okay. There's still an error. I don't see it though. Oh. Oh, because I need to change these to distort and bump. And then I need to have all of these return. Alright. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about the margins right now. Okay, so I updated that. What else is there? The triangles. And I need to do the blends, of course, but I might wait. Oh, okay, I completely lost track of time, actually. So yeah, I guess I better stop. So yeah, we'll need to... well, if I run it now, will I at least be able to see the positions? Yeah, it'd be nice to do that before I sign off for now. Okay, yeah, so it still doesn't go all the way, obviously, but... Debug... Okay, so the positions are set. Is that correct? The bound axis... Why is that -3? Because it starts at -1.5 and then... Well, this should... So these should be 0, 0 because it's supposed to be half of the axis. And then why are these 1 when it's all 0 here? Yeah, so something's not right. Is it the... Is it this that's messing it up? Oh, well, I didn't call the right function, so I need to rename this to distort and bump. I don't think that... Well, it could be what was messing it up. I don't think so. Oh, it's even worse now. Is it a distortion map? What's... Yeah, I guess it's a distortion map that's making this weird. So let me turn that off so I can just get a pure look at the positions to make sure this code is okay. Okay, so obviously something is wrong because this is 1/2, but it's giving me 3. Oh, it's giving me -3 when really it's like it's going backwards. Maybe I accidentally negated or deleted or yeah, subtract is what I was trying to think of, but no, this looks right. Okay, well, I don't know. I'll have to look into that. Let's see. Let me write a note for me. Oh, I did this actually, so we're done with that. Okay, so I need to finish the positions, triangles, collider, triangles, blends, and then the mesh. Oh, and also the UVs. We still got a little bit of work to do. I don't think it'll take that long because really all of these kind of just depend on those interpolation values. But anyway, I guess I'm done for now. If you want to be notified when I go live next, which at the latest will be at noon Eastern tomorrow, but cross my fingers I might be able to stream a little earlier today. We'll see. But feel free to follow me here on Twitch or also on my Twitter. I always post when I go live. I also have a YouTube channel where I'll upload all old videos if you want to catch up on anything. And then a Discord server where you can chat with me throughout the day. I'd love to have you. But yeah, I guess that's it for today. And I hope you have a great one. Bye-bye.